Greetings and welcome. My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core New Core, licensed presenters, my patrons, if you're not a patron, I encourage you to become one so that you can brag that you are and establish a date of when you became one. Who else is this for? My patrons and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor or student or human being. As much as you may apply what you know about Pilates to your interaction with another species, like a horse, it's still tough to get some of the conceptualization that humans are capable of across that distinction of between species. So 3 things today. It's a Monday. And the first title is Unwilling or Unable. And by that I mean unwilling or unable to recognize how the body is moving. I guess that's going to be the whole title when I type it out in Facebook to come. Unwilling or unable to recognize how the body is moving. Specifically that the body rotates, has a rotational dynamic control at the hips, at the shoulders and the ears and the knees and the ankles and the metatarsals. Right? It has those capabilities to create those rotational dynamics that are connected to one another and are the means to which the body engages itself to move through space. I'm saying, my point of view is, my opinion is, that through oppositional rotation between axes, the organism of the body, the water balloon of the body, and all that it's got going for it is reaching into and creating a cornu-shaped tension. I think out of the efficiency it brings you in the distribution of the engagement of the musculature. So it's what when you make tension between points, I want my single strand and I don't have it. I'm sorry. It's somewhere. Here it is. Here it is. Alright, so hold on. I knew this was going to be a water skiing along and you make a mistake and all of a sudden when you were skimming on top of catches you up and into the water. You know, you get snagged by the water into it. Unwilling or unable, and in this case I'm referring to unwilling or unable to recognize that the body does have axes of rotation within it that interact with one another, and it's through that interaction that the body most efficiently engages itself to move through space. When I was on an island on the coast of Brazil. Flown in and didn't get met at the airport and went looking for where I was supposed to do a workshop that weekend, I guess. And so I arranged a bilingual guide, and I think I must have had a couple of addresses, maybe 3. And in the first address we get there and the door opens and it's a Pilates studio, and people are appropriately clad and in the midst of their pursuit of their method. And it wasn't where I was looking for, so we went to the next place. And so the driver, my translator, got very curious about what this Pilates is. And when I was talking to him about uniform engagement of the body and how we're made of water trying to move through air, he says to me, like a fish trying to swim through an ocean of air. Right? Yeah. And it's how you engage your musculature that determines how heavy you are in the space that you're in. It's a physics thing, and water and all the other stuff has gravity in it. So how you distribute your load matters. How do I get off in that? Like a fish swimming through an ocean of air. And when you engage in core new tension, by doing that, you seek to uniformly engage your musculature as much as you can. You want to distribute the load of your body as uniformly as you can to manage the weight of your body, the load. And to that extent, you're lighter in space, and to that extent, the more uniformly you're engaged, the more you are like gravity, insofar as gravity being a uniform medium. So the body engages itself the way it can through oppositional rotation between axes in order to distribute the load of itself in space, in order to swim like a fish through an ocean of air. So number 2, the luxury of inhabiting your body. And the burden it places upon you to be in it. For one of it's the whole alive and dead thing, regardless of the hereafter and your attitudes of that. Your body in this manifestation, is not going to see the year 3030. At least I don't think so. If you do, you can tell them you knew me back when, in 2020. The burden that it places on you to be in your body is the fact that you are a fish in air trying to move. And because of that, you're heavy. And that's why right after Joe defines his method, when he says contrology is the complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit, very next paragraph, contrology develops the body uniformly. And this whole uniformly thing, this whole body thing, is about being able to swim like a fish through an ocean of air. And I guess from my perspective, this whole body thing, it involves being uniformly engaged in your body. And that to achieve that, over millions of years of evolution, at least a couple 100,000 years for the Homo sapiens species, this whole interaction between axes helps us run through the jungle and deal with gravity, being made of water and heavy in space. So, maybe that takes me on to my next remark. Maybe that concludes my remark about the luxury of inhabiting your body. And then number 3, Pilates reflects reality. I like to say it's a reaction to reality. And as such, it's a reflection of reality. Sorry if that's too interwoven like dough, like one of those buns that is laced together. If nothing else, what's in this book is a fascination that will go on for as long as mankind goes on, because there's enough books out here, and maybe it'll take archaeologists to dig this up out in 4040 and then find out about it experientially in their own body. In my opinion, exploring, doing the mat, doing the exercises in flow, without stopping, right? With intention, according to their purpose, is the whole thing that this is about. And so in MMP, I would say that MMP is pointing to the experience. That comes from your concentrating on the exercises, the purpose of the exercises, as you perform them. Okay, So my conclusion to my point about Pilates reflects reality is that exploring the intention gets fascinating. And then the only you part, or my only you can make the most of your time in the moment and in your plan for the moment to come. Joseph Pilates continues to release the brilliance in all of us. It's like in kids' movies where they're picking at a geode, say, and as the shell of the geode comes away, like the a shell of an egg and it opens up, the light emits. And to me that light is being engaged as a human being, focused on coordinating your capacities of being, thinking, and observing, and in a state where your observing is playing into a feedback loop to how you're moving. Right? You're diving deeper into, or going as deep as you can into your expression of the control you're after in the performance of the effort. And whoosh. So it's in that discovery of the experience we find ourselves in a way that becomes near and dear to many of us, to the point of being of considering it to be very personal. Life can't live forever. Read between the lines and see behind the curtain. Connect the dots. Evaluate points of view. Then add 2 and 2. Direct your thinking. Geist